Hey folks, today's a pretty exciting day for Last Epoch fans as we got a massive teaser drop, the biggest one to date, and we have basically the full trailer, some items, some other stuff, so I'm going to go over that today, put some timestamps in the video, so check there if you want to skip ahead or anything you've already seen. And I'm going to start by jumping into the trailer. So here we have, there's some cool stuff to look at here that might be of interest. I'll play that, so feel free to skip ahead if you've seen it.
You remind me of him, Traveler. It's that same unwavering hope that led us straight into oblivion. And now, you're part of a war that you don't fully understand. I tried to warn you, to spare you, but his eyes are upon you now. There is no time left, no refuge, no hope. His harbingers are coming.
All right, that looks pretty awesome. A lot of really cool visuals in that. I'm going to quickly jump through and look at some stuff in it in a little bit more detail, and we'll see what we can learn. So there's a bunch of existing skills here that we've already seen. This is Runic Invocation with the spinny thing, a bunch of other stuff. One thing I thought was a little bit interesting. We have what looks to be the new Pinnacle boss, some sort of mounted thing. Go into that a little bit more later. And a lot of the new content sort of revolves around the timelines from what we understand so far. It seems like each of the timelines has their own special boss now that will contribute to the new Pinnacle boss. We don't know everything about that yet, but that's some of what we have so far. This looks kind of interesting. I don't think that this is an area we've seen before, unless it's just the camera angle that's a little unusual. But yeah, this could have something to do with the new boss area, or maybe it's even a new timeline or something like that. You could see this purple portal thing, this book-looking thing. These are definitely not things we've seen before, so who knows? Maybe it's an extra timeline. That would be really cool. We also have some insight into the Harbinger bosses, so bosses being plural here. You can see from some of the bosses here that there's a lot of different things going on. They all have their own effects and stuff like that, so this looks really cool. I think we're probably going to see quite a few different new boss fights, and hopefully they are a little bit more interesting to fight from some of the stuff we've seen before, and from what EHG has been saying, it does look like that is the case. So quite excited about that. They all seem like they have very unique skill sets and abilities, so these fights should be pretty cool. You can see there's quite a few of them being teased here. And we will jump ahead a little bit. So here we have, let's turn this down a little bit. Here we have Evade. And this is also interesting. It's the Nemesis system. So you can see you have a bit of a choice on how you want to proceed with the encounter. You have the Banish. I think that gives you one of the items. Challenge, I believe, gives you all of the items, and you have to fight the boss. And then Empower, I think maybe it makes it stronger or something like that, and then it upgrades the items when you see it again the next time. So I really like this sort of encounter that you have some degree of player agency. I think that'll make the end game feel a little bit more dynamic rather than just going through, like even exiled mages, you pop them and you kill them and then you get what you get. This gives you some choice, and I think players are really going to enjoy that. That definitely also seems to be a theme that they're going with, is trying to give players more choice in how they play the game. That'll definitely help the replayability, longevity, and all that stuff. So looking forward to that. Moving on, we have, this is pretty exciting. Oh, jumped a little too far. Yeah, so we have a new faction, and this is not something that you have to choose as an alternative to Merchant Guild or COF. You get to choose this in addition to it. As Micah said in some of the dev streams recently, there will be more factions in the future. Some will be mutually exclusive and others will not be. So in this case, this is one that you should, I believe everybody will be getting. And it seems to sort of center around the timelines themselves. You can see here, required corruption 300, corruption required for next Harbinger encounter in one of the missing timelines. So there's some hint on how that's going to work here. Highest corruption Harbinger kill, Harbinger kills, Aberoth kills. So there's some stuff here that could be interesting. Aberoth defeat the remaining Harbinger by luring them out using the Harbinger crest. So this might already be known, but I'm guessing Aberoth is the name of the Pinnacle boss. I'm not 100% sure on that. This is me just giving first impressions going through this. So yeah, you can see here the these are all the different timelines. And you have here, this one is grayed out. So I'm guessing this is the one that they haven't killed yet. So in total, you have the 10 timelines, Harbinger kills 9. Yeah, defeat the remaining Harbinger. So yeah, that's kind of what it's giving away here. Is there anything else? Harbinger of Treason, Harbinger of War, Harbinger. So they all have their own names, and it seems like they're all unique as well. So I guess expect whole new boss fights for each timeline, plus probably more. And then we also have a little bit of info here on some of the bonuses from rank up. So this is pretty cool. You have here Glyph of Envy drops. That's the new currency. So it looks like it is one that you, when you're upgrading an affix, you can use this glyph and it will do some extra stuff. We'll go into that a bit later. But for now, it's pretty cool stuff. Tiers of sealed affixes added by empowering a nemesis are higher. So just typical stuff that's making your loot better as you progress. Really cool stuff. Gaze of Orbis grants +1 corruption. So this is some stuff that people have been asking for a really long time. As you progress in the game, you'll now be able to move your alts through timelines quicker with these upgrades, which is really awesome. I like that. Blessings are lucky. Blessings roll their value twice and pick the highest value. This is something that has been suggested before, and I'm super happy that they're bringing it into the game. Grinding out blessings is a pain. And Mike has also mentioned that there will be blessing swapping in 1.1. So my interpretation of that is that once you get a blessing, that blessing is saved, and then you can later go back and select it, or maybe you have to do something to select it. But either way, it should make managing your blessings a little bit easier. Then we also have the unique drop chance. Timeline Harbingers are twice as likely to drop their specific unique, so that's pretty cool. I'm wondering if this will also work with the COF boss drop chance bonus. I guess we'll have to see, but a lot of really cool stuff here. And we also have a bunch of balance changes. It looks like they're trying to bring some of the weaker classes up, and they probably will be bringing some things, hint, hint, ward, down a little bit closer to Earth. So expect a lot of really big nerfs on the stuff that is a huge outlier. For a little bit more context, Mike has basically said that thousands plus corruption should not be possible anymore in 1.1. As with anything, it's entirely possible some stuff will make it through and you'll have some broken builds that are going to be dominating corruption. Players usually find a way to break the game, so I expect that to continue, but who knows, they could also just be reworking how the scaling works in general so that it's like instead of linear difficulty, it's exponential or something like that. Who knows? Here's something pretty cool. There is, this is Disintegrate. We have seen some love being directed at Disintegrate. Whether or not it will make it viable is yet to be seen, but there's some stuff where you can immediately start at a level 3 Disintegrate. We've already seen in previous teasers, so that's pretty cool. And what else do we have? There's another disintegrate here being shown. This is also disintegrate with the double beams. It looks like they are somewhat interested in disintegrate making a comeback. So that is cool for those of you who like this sort of thing. We have some more visuals on the void theme of this league, everything being purple. Pretty cool stuff. This one is saying Pinnacle Boss. This looks a little bit smaller than some of the other ones. I don't know what exactly we're looking at here. I guess it's just the perspective. Yeah, so this seems to be the Pinnacle Boss. You can see a lot of different effects, so I expect this boss to be maybe comparable to like Shaper or Uber if you've played Path of Exile. It looks pretty cool. There's a lot of really cool abilities. And also one thing that Mike has said about this specifically is that there will be phases. So do expect a boss fight that has multiple different phases, maybe with different mechanics and different things that you need to learn in order to play the fight. So really exciting stuff here. What else do we have? More stuff on the boss. And there you go. So that's what we have so far. Really cool stuff from this trailer. A lot of little hints on what is to come. So jumping back onto this page, we have the Pinnacle Boss. There's some details here. We have the Harbingers. We have a bit of an idea on what this is. I won't go over it again. So the Nemesis, we talked a little bit about this. It's the random encounters with the choice on how you want your reward to be or what you want the encounter to look like. So pretty cool stuff here. I like that you can choose to postpone it or re-roll it or stuff like that. And however you want to play it out, you can. Really cool stuff. Evade has been something talked about for quite a while. There's a lot of different mechanics that they're going to be tying to Evade. We'll see some of the unique items that interact with Evade in a moment, but for now, that's what we have. We also have the reworked boss defenses. So if you're not familiar, they are removing the adaptive DR from the bosses and replacing it with these little thresholds that when you reach the certain threshold, the boss gets a bunch of ward that decays over time. So the idea is lower damage builds, the ward will get more time to decay. So it sort of smooths out the disparity between very strong and very weak builds. I guess I should say DPS wise, high DPS and low DPS. And according to Mike, it is still technically possible to one-shot a boss, although it will be much harder than in 1.1, or sorry, 1.0. We have item faction updates. This is a really cool screenshot we're looking at here. You can see the bar going past 10. This is something that I brought up before and said it seems pretty likely that this is going to happen. And this might be the confirmation. It's not exactly clear what we're looking at here, but it seems to be like you're going to be going past rank 10. Actually, it says right here, 2 new ranks for each faction. So there you go. Participate in trade and prophecies, rank up your rewards. Yeah, so that's really cool. For COF, we already have seen the new rank 10, and it is not the old rank 10. So I'm kind of wondering if they've just moved the old rank 10 to 11 or 12, because it is quite a strong one. Because they haven't actually shown 11 or 12 as far as I'm aware yet. So yeah, they just might have moved some of the stronger ones to those 11 and 12 slots. But I guess we'll see. It does say additional grind, so maybe getting to the end might take a bit longer than before. I guess we don't really know yet. So we have progression changes. You will progress through faster. Several changes, so some of these things will help you increase corruptions. That's really cool. For leveling alts, this has been something asked for quite a lot. Yeah, new ways to gain stability, so and so. So I'm guessing you might be able to fight Shade more often. Maybe you might be able to fight the timeline boss more often, which means those items might be more targetable loot-wise. So that would be really cool. Just speculating on the Shade thing, I don't know. Yeah, so a lot of cool stuff. And then the Harbingers are going to have their own drops as well, in addition to whatever the timeline. So there is going to be a lot of really cool stuff dropping um, for this. Then we have new uniques. We have a few teasers that I'm going to go over in a bit. But yeah, there's going to be new uniques. We have improvements, so there's probably some UI stuff. Updates to the loot filter. Okay, that's awesome. The ability to filter legendary potential. What? Okay. I didn't even know this was coming, but I'm super hyped for this. This is actually amazing. So excited. For those of you who aren't aware, Endgame COF is basically just raining of uniques onto you, and you can't easily filter for LP. This is actually game changing. I'm super excited for this, as well as numerous improvements to other aspects, such as exciting updates to the blessing system. So my guess, as I said before, blessing swapping, once you get one, you have it saved somewhere, and then you can swap back. I'm just speculating by the wording that Mike used. I don't know for certain. But yeah, lots of really cool stuff going on here. And that's all we have for this initial bit. Let's jump over to the long form. So here we have some of the same stuff. Evade. Evade we've already seen. We'll skim over this a little bit. Feel free to pause if you want to read it all. I won't bore you with that. Yeah, so as I said before, Evade does not grant immunity frames. Although that isn't to say that there won't be something in the game, like a unique, that may end up giving it, which would be pretty cool. I guess that we will see as more items are spoiled. So here we have some changes to a base type. You can see cooldown recovery for Evade. So if I'm remembering correctly, Evade had a 4-second base cooldown, so you will be able to increase that. We have uniques that center around the Evade itself. Cooldown for Evade, +1 Evade charge. Really cool stuff here. There's also Fury Leap, so the Druid skill, or Primalist, sorry, the Primalist skill. A lot of cool stuff. Haste after traversal. These seem to be really cool leveling boots. I like it. Then what else we have here? Evade is replaced by Summon Crab. So it looks like there will be ways for you to trade out Evade if you don't actually care about it for other stuff that is useful. And in this case, you get a crab. So that's pretty cool. Swiftness. I don't actually remember if swiftness is a thing in the game right now. It might be. Some of you guys might know. If you do, leave it in the comments. I'll probably look it up after. And then we have +6 all attribute on this ring. Seems to be a pretty low level. That is a lot of all attributes. For a level 23 item, this is huge. So this potentially with LP, slamming attributes, if you're attribute stacking, this could actually be pretty crazy. And you have the armor, 6 strength, plus you could have another 16 strength or something if you're stacking armor, and this would be a massive amount of strength and armor in addition to vitality. Depending on the LP level of this ring, it could actually be pretty cool. What else do we have here? So Nemesis, we already talked about this. They go into a bit more details here. Really cool stuff. It is a new system, so not just an encounter. It gives you some agency. What else? Is there anything useful here? So yeah, you have the 3 options. That's what we talked about. And then it goes into more detail on the options, which is what I mentioned before. So the interesting thing that I see here is the empower. So if you don't like the items, you can empower, and the next time you encounter it, the items will be better or with new affixes. So that's really cool. You can decide to up the difficulty and also up the reward. I really, really like that. A lot of cool stuff going on here. You can empower a nemesis twice, so I guess up to twice, increasing the quality of the rewards as well as the power. So yeah, difficulty and reward scaling, really cool. Then we have a teaser of a item. So this seems to be a reward. This I don't think is an actual item that you will have. So if you challenge, the egg will reward. So I don't think that you ever have this egg in your inventory. I'm not really sure, but it looks like it says can be replaced. Powered through the Nemesis. Yeah, okay. You can instead replace it with your own unique item that has no LP. So you can potentially give LP to an item. That's really cool. Or make it legendary. Yeah, that's actually really cool. So you could take maybe like a well-rolled unique and then give it LP. At least that's how I'm interpreting this. It seems really cool if that's how that works. A lot of potential for upgrading your gear with that. I'm assuming it would use the LP level system if that's the case, because otherwise you could just add LP to something like a Wings of Argentus that has a very high LP level. I don't know if that's the case. There's a lot of mystery here. So what else do we have? More details on the Harbingers Forgotten Knight. We have Harbingers. So to gain access, you first need to challenge and defeat the Harbingers. So that's what it seems like. There are unique Harbingers in each of the 10 timelines. And they all give you, the first time you fight them, they all give you an eye, which is the reward. This is the currency to get into the boss fight. So you just need to gather more of these eye things to do more pinnacle attempts. Really cool stuff. Yeah, so it sounds like once you've done all the timelines, you get to do the pinnacle boss. I don't know if you need to do once you've done all the timelines, I wonder if you can target farm a specific one, like if all the eyes are the same currency. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm wondering is once you do the 10, can you just do like Fall of the Outcast, for example, and farm up eyes and like only do that one timeline? So a lot of people target farm uniques. So if you're forced to do all of them, that might be a little bit annoying, but we'll see. After defeating your first Harbinger, being your journey, this makes sense. So that's you getting your faction. So really cool stuff here. Do we have any more info that we've already seen? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, okay. So with the eyes in hand and all defeated, you can make your way to the Harbinger domain. So that's what we looked at earlier in the teaser. This is that little portal from the beginning intro. And this seems to be the same background, so I think that's what we're looking at. With this domain, you'll face off against the leader of the Harbingers, Servant of Oribus, Aberoth. Okay, so it is Aberoth. That's what we were guessing. So what was it before? Defeat the remaining. Yeah, so Aberoth is the pinnacle boss then. So that's good to know. Aberoth will only be able to challenge in the online cycle. So that's the initial thing that EHG has been talking about. Once it's defeated, it will be available in Legacy. So all of this content will be in Legacy as well. It's just that the new boss will not be in Legacy right away. So if you're a Legacy player, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You'll still be able to have a good time with the new content. You just might need to wait a little bit until players get through it. And I imagine, as players tend to do, it'll probably be pretty quick. So yeah, boss defenses, we already talked about this a little bit. They removed adaptive DR, bosses gain a bunch of ward. We will see how that ends up playing out. There's also some changes to the stun locking and CC. So they're adding more resistance to stun and freeze. So the snap freeze stun lock, I'm guessing, is no longer going to be a thing. We'll still need to see what ends up happening. But we've also heard that before, so we will actually have to see how it turns out in the game. We've added a maximum stun freeze duration to powerful endgame bosses to increase the difficulty of CC locking them. So another little bit of context is, according to Mike, it will still be possible to CC lock bosses, just much more difficult. So we don't know if, like, is that stuns, is that freezes, is that some other type of CC? Who knows? Maybe some forms of CC that could previously stun lock, like snap freeze, will no longer be able to. That's probably healthy for the game anyway. So here we have the new currency item, the Glyph of Envy. It's slow to progress, so this helps you progress quicker, so you get a bunch of stability. So when you use this item, this currency on an item, it gives you stability to the most recent timeline you entered, greatly increasing stability. So these currency items, potentially what this means is if you're farming timeline 1 and you drop a Glyph of Envy, you could go farm timeline 2, use this Glyph of Envy, and then use all those drops that you get anywhere of these Glyph of Envies to funnel stability into a single timeline. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. So like you could farm, for example, Reign of Dragons, drop Glyph of Envies, then go farm the Fire Boss one, I forget what it's called, Reign of Fire or something like that. You get some Glyph of Envies, and then you go run whatever one it is, say Fall of the Outcasts, and then use all your Glyph of Envies and then fight that boss a bunch of times. At least I think that's the case of what you will be able to do with this. And if so, I think that'll make target farming boss drops a lot better. And also give you more agency to do other timelines if you don't feel like doing the one that drops the specific boss drop that you want. So really cool stuff there. And then it also lets you separate the harbingers that you want to farm versus the timeline boss that you want to farm, because the stability is separate. So really cool stuff. So then there's more details here about how it works. Siphons the lost stability, granting it to your most recent timeline. I hope it's not just like a one-to-one, like you lose, is it FP? I guess we don't know. We don't know how much stability it will actually give. Only found within level 100 from rare enemies and harbingers. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we don't actually know how much stability it's going to give, but hopefully it's quite a bit. Then we have here Harbinger's Needle. It's the first consumable equipped item. This is a idol, a small idol. So that's pretty cool. You put it in your idol slot and then breaks if equipped when you kill a timeline boss. Okay, so you get additional gaze stacks. Along with the new faction changes, you get more corruption per gaze. This seems like it'll allow you to push corruption significantly faster. Really cool stuff here. Upcoming quality of life posts, so look forward to that. I think we'll be hearing more about timelines. And then here's a really exciting part. Patch 1.1 introducing 30 new unique items, which is significantly more than previous patches. So let's take a look at some of the stuff we have. So we have the first one, Event Horizon, two-handed mace. It is a unique Vault Crusher. So that is 126 flat melee damage, quite a bit. We have penetration. So we don't actually know the rolls on these, like the roll ranges. This could be a high roll, could be low roll, we don't know. But anyway, penetration against all resistances. Interesting. That's a significant amount of penetration. It says all resistance too, which is really cool. Hit an enemy with a melee attack, you gain a stock of dilation. More melee damage per stack. Oh wow, that's a lot. Up to 10? That is a lot of more damage. Wow. Less attack and cast speed per stack. Okay, I'm liking this so far. This feels like a huge bonk weapon. As long as you have a way to get a bunch of hits in, then you have your really, really big bonks. I like it. How long do the stacks last? Do they last until until you use evade? Do they just continually last, or is there like a timeout? But either way, that's really cool. I like this a lot. I'm guessing this is going to be a chase item, level 80. Probably with high LP level, I would guess. So yeah, you don't want to be using evade with this. This is like some sort of juggernaut Giga Smash weapon here. Really cool. And less movement speed, that's it's probably fine. You could also, like, while you're running through the map, you do your smashes and use evade so you don't lose your movement speed, and then during the boss fight, maybe you just want to sit there and face tank it, in which case you don't care about the movement speed. So you have the choice if you want to stack up damage or don't bother with that. So for single target, you could do that. Yeah, this looks like really cool weapon. And then more damage to slow. That's a lot of stuff going on here. Really cool stuff. Chance to take 0 damage when hit. So this is a unique gladiator armor. And it doesn't have a class here. So it looks like this will be usable by any class. Otherwise, it would say like mage body armor or something like that. Anyway, chance to take 0 damage when hit. That's really cool. It does say when hit, so not DOTs. Ward decay threshold, endurance threshold added as ward decay threshold. This is really cool. It's a hybrid defense item. So if you don't have a significant amount of ward generation, you have your decay threshold, you're probably stacking endurance or health or something like that. This is really cool. There are some classes that stack endurance threshold pretty easily. I know, I think one of the rogues does. There's the bear gets some free life as endurance threshold. I don't know if you would want to synergize that. The mage has some like mana stuff. Mana gained as endurance threshold that you could get quite a bit. The mountain items, I believe there's some stuff you could do endurance threshold. So this is pretty cool. A lot of endurance threshold stuff you could do. As right now, endurance threshold is a little bit on the weak side. So I'm hoping maybe this will be an indicative of some changes we see to that whole system. And you have some ward per second helping you with your get back to your threshold. So it's just like a little bit of a buffer for your health. Pretty cool stuff. Then we have a scepter. Void Cleave is now instant and no longer movement. Void Cleave no longer has a weapon requirement. Okay. Ravaging auras created by Void Cleave lasts an additional 8 seconds. Okay, this is a lot of cool stuff. Level 65 Void Pen, a bunch of AoE. I'm not super familiar with Void Cleave, so I'm probably not the one to talk about this, but it does look pretty cool. I do like instant skills. Those are really awesome. Then we have a quiver here. You have a bunch of flat. There's a lot of flat dodge. Then you have increased dodge. You have Dusk Shroud on dodge, Black Arrow on dodge. So a lot of dodge stuff here. And there's a bit of a theme with these items as trying to provide you defensive alternatives to ward. So I do like that. It definitely fits the theme that they're trying to rebalance ward a little bit to give you some alternatives. So I'm hoping that is a trend that we're going to be seeing. And yeah, that's all we have today. It's been a pretty long one, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.